The science of flow is what I'm going to talk about first a little bit. You know our hearts have a 40-foot field of magnetism? You hear about the chi in Kung Fu and Tai Chi. In yoga they call it prana. In science it's called biomagnetism. There's a 40-foot field that extends from our hearts, and our attitude influences the frequency and the amplitude of our magnetism. If I concentrate on my right hand, magnetism builds in my right hand. This isn't science fantasy, this is science fact. You know, nowadays, if you have enough money, if there's a problem with the heart or a problem with the head, you know they don't touch the body to measure it? They measure the field coming out of your head, the magnetic energy, and they can diagnose the brain that way. They measure the field of the heart outside of the body to diagnose what's wrong with the body. So whether or not chi is real, that's long proven, but nobody seems to know it. It's not common knowledge. Why? Because the intellect and the senses take over our lives. Right now, everyone, including me, is using this part of our brain to look out and to quantify and to dice up whatever's in the environment. If you really relax, really calm down, then you become embodied. Think of a good hug. You literally feel inside your body. No longer is the person outside, someone that you're focusing on that they're out there, but now you welcome them inside your body space. So, to create changes in the brain, to create changes in the body, and to create changes in the fields of our lives, we've got to practice reversing the search. You know? How do you do that? You do that through whatever works for you as an individual. You have certain spiritual beliefs, you have certain physical things you're willing to do, certain people you enjoy. So that's our path. So if you think my faves is my path, is a little phrase you can remember. That's the best stuff that you can put together in a training system that will allow you to create measurable changes, and that's what this program's all about. I developed this program when I was teaching the trainers of the Olympic ski team because they wanted more results in meditation. I was a Zen monk for 4.5 years. I was the head of security for the Guru of the Beatles. I have 5 published books, and my search has always been all this mystical stuff, and you know, much to the chagrin of Mom and Dad, the chi was not such a great interest. Of course, most people that are interested in the chi, maybe they're a little unbalanced. But I've never given up, and now I understand the science of it. And the results are phenomenal. I've never been to a medical doctor one time in my entire adult life, and I have plenty of intense experiences. No fillings and no cavities. People speak about genetics, but it's a little more than genetics. It's the ability to actually change your pulse, your brain waves, your breathing pattern, and your brain chemistry. And all of that is existent inside of our own bodies, inside of our own minds. But we're so scattered. Us human beings are so scattered. You know, we go to the yoga and we go to the Pilates and we go to the counselor and we go to the church and we do everything. We get a new relationship, chocolate. You know, there's no external solution for an internal problem. And our problems are really internal. So when we're 5 years old, 10 years old, 20 years old, something happens that shocks us, and you go like this. That's what makes us look like this when we're 90, when we're 100. As we get older, we realize this, right? So if you reverse the search and you look inside your bodies and minds right now, with proper support, because you can't have relief without enough support. We're always pensive because we don't have adequate support. No human being does. But once you fall in love or you have the new program or something stimulates you, then there's so much support you can say, I can release whatever the tension is and wherever it is. So you get that. Without enough support, you never get the relief. So a real safe space is a space that's loving, is a space that's kind, is a space that's compassionate, and is a space that's powerful. And what's that power? It's magnetic energy. When you're turned on, when you're tuned in, when you're outside the box, when you have intestinal fortitude, when you have backbone, when you have guts, when you have when you have all the different things that these phrases have come about. Heart. Why have these phrases come about? Because they signify places inside of our physiology where cellular magnetism is really strong. We cannot build that cellular magnetism, which everyone's future depends on. We cannot build that cellular magnetism unless we feel enough support. So the support's going to come from the My Favorites list. So if you remember, My Faves is my path. That's a start. The why of flow. Einstein said an interesting quote. He said, "I believe that which leads people to greatness in the arts and sciences is their capacity to achieve flight from everyday life, with its painful harshness and wretched dreariness. This can be compared to the city dweller who goes to the countryside for a weekend of rest and relaxation." Do you follow that? He made a direct correlation between our ability to relax and go wander in the nature, which supposedly produces grandiosity and lethargy, but it doesn't. If you really relax, you become very powerful and very active afterwards. Einstein made a direct correlation between our ability to relax and our ability to have creative genius. Jesus said, "First enter the kingdom of heaven, and then everything you need will be given." First enter the kingdom of heaven, then where's the kingdom of heaven? Jesus again said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. But if you tell the truth, we're all looking for it out here. Right? I am. So I'm trying to learn these things so I can look for it in here. The guru of the Beatles, the guy that founded TM, very scientifically supported stuff. He said, and it's from the Vedas actually, the scriptures of Hinduism. He said, first be established in being. Being established in pure being, perform action. So if we're in that place of synchronicity, personal synchronicity, which is what this program's all about, it's about taking a dip in the flow, having that experience like the beautiful hug, like the great quote, like the great song, your favorite list, whatever it is that works for you, and actually causing measurable changes, taking a dip in the flow. A great orator, a great singer, a great athlete, a great anybody, what do they do before they perform? They center in. If you have a very pressing engagement, you have some emergency or something, what happens? You stop and you ground. But we're so caught up in doing that you look at the world and it makes me a little teary. On the drive over here, I couldn't believe how everybody was driving. Why is it if there's snow or cold or the weather changes, people drive more dangerously? I don't get it. By taking just a few moments now and then to center in, you actually are going to find a way to get inside these places of mind and body that are stuck, that are frozen, that have compulsion, that have addiction, that have all this stuff. And you're able to provide a suffusion for the body, just like the hug. So remember, that's really the key to our personal health. Take a dip in the flow. Now you can do it in 5 minutes, you can do it in 30 seconds, you can do it in a 2-hour training program where you do physical and you do psychological, emotional venting, emotional nourishment, and spiritual, transcendent perception. You make a flow from mind to body to get back to that place to where you just, it's like mountaintop viewing. Let's get to some training now. Rebreather. I came up with this rebreather word because there's so much talk about proper breathing. Why is proper breathing important? Because it's the oxygen in your bloodstream. The oxygen in your bloodstream is so powerful. You take a big breath before anything powerful happens. If you have a lot of paperwork, you're going to go, okay, let me get, and then the breath's going to become real long as you do the paperwork. And then as soon as you have epiphany moments, there's going to be a pause, no breath. Eureka moment. So beautiful, it's breathtaking. It's that moment in that gap that we access synchronicity, that we access the field of life. If you go to yoga schools and you go to martial arts schools and you go to all these different kind of places, they all talk about breathing. hospitals around the world, every centering technique, doesn't matter what tradition, they all talk about breathing. You know, in Latin, the word spirit means breath. You know the word chi means breath. You know the word prana means breath. But breath can be of all kinds of qualities. And what we want to have is that inspired atmosphere breath. Like the person you love the most comes in the room. All of a sudden, the light raises in the room, and there's something different in the air. You know there's a magnetism in the air? There's lightning strikes around the whole world, right? It's called Schumann resonance. And it oscillates at 7 megahertz. That's the same frequency we need in our brains to calm down and become more creative. Isn't that interesting that that's the stuff out here? Now, if I'm in fearful clinging, wherever, then I'm not boundless. If I'm alone in nature, I'm boundless. Right? You're alone in nature, but as soon as we see each other, we're all scared to death. So we go into this fearful clinging. Little place in the stomach, little place in the back. So somehow we continue to develop the courage through your My Favorites list, by interacting with your My Favorites list, to be more boundless. And then that will cause the kind of breathing that happens to a person that's in the zone, or a baby. You ever notice a baby? Any mothers here? You ever notice a baby's breathing, your baby's breath? Right there. Everybody says they know it and teach it. Healers and yogis and martial artists. 1% can do it. You know why? Because you have to face yourself, pretty much, to do that practice. So it's talked about a lot, but it's not really practiced. I'm going to show you how to do it. Please don't ever forget it. Take your hands like this. Put your hands on your belly. Now, move your belly in. Forget about your breath. Don't worry about your breath. Move your belly in and move your belly out. In, out. Is that funny looking? In, out. In, out. In, out. Can everybody do that with their muscles? Let me see. Bert? Can you do that just with your muscles? In, out. Just like how we had to activate with the song. We're going to get to the good stuff of meditation soon. But for now, we're still training. In, out. Really just use your muscles. In, out. Now take your hands like this again. Put your fingers in the belly button. Push in and exhale. Push in and exhale. You figure it out for a minute. Push in and exhale. Now, I've taught this to thousands of people. It's not so easy, but you can get it in the next couple minutes, at least the beginning of it. Slow it down. Now, if you watch my chest closely, when I inhale, my chest goes in. That signifies that I'm breathing in the most powerful, largest part of my lungs, which are down here. If you have a big body here, okay, here's the chest area. The lungs are small here. The lungs are big down there. What happens when we're afraid? Now, you've all heard this lesson, but how many of you embodied this lesson? When you're afraid, we go like this. Now, if you notice how you breathe normally, it's like this. Why? Because we all have too much fear. We all have too much shock. Everybody. Take your hands like this. Put it on the ribs. Now see if you can just move the ribs. Now you have to practice this only for the rest of your life, so don't worry about it. That one's a little harder. Okay, now we're going to take 5. There's little routines that result in this experience of taking a dip in the flow that you can learn to do. And you can do it in 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. But if you have a little quip saying like take 5, that'll help you to do it. So we're going to take 5. We're going to exercise, then we're going to energize, and then we're going to center. I call it the centering solution because if we can actually center, then no matter what is out here, no matter what's on our plate, we can deal with it. Now, if you just try to go into centering, or if you think that training is not necessary, I don't know where that idea comes from. We do need to train ourselves. So in just 5 minutes' time, we're going to do a couple things. Put your interlocking hands like this. We're going to work with the body first. Stretch up like this. Everybody hangs their head down. So doing this simple exercise will loosen up stuff in your neck and in your shoulders. And that's hidden rocket fuel. So I'm going to go around the room now. I want you to hold that posture, and I'm going to push your hands back a little bit. Okay, the camera's okay. I might duck out of the cameras, but it's all right. Just push it. Push yourself a little bit, okay? Because there's trapped rocket fuel in these stuck muscles from our places of hanging our head down. Now, just hold it. Give a little effort. And watch what happens when we release our hands. This is the essence of yoga. Yoga just isn't any postures. Yoga is stretching where you're stuck. Now, release your hands. Bring your arms down. You can do that in the audience too? I mean the camera audience? See the energy? You feel? Does anybody feel energy flowing through their body? You know each cell is a dipole, it's called. That means each cell in our body is a little magnet. Each cell has a north and a south pole of magnetism. Science. So when we stretch out places where we're stuck as individuals, that's the kind of yoga that leads us to the place where it's easier for us to deal with mind and to get perspective. The man that brought Zen to the United States said this. He said, strictly speaking, no effort is required. However, if you don't give some effort, I don't think you're going to make any progress. So it's a funny thing. Both at the same time, with the snap of our fingers, we say, well, what the heck do I have to do anything with my body for? All I have to do is change my mind, and then I have all the energy in the world. I can do whatever I want. But we have a body, just like the car. So the masters of this stuff, they do a little body, they do a little mind, and then they do a little spirit. So now we'll go into the mind. Think about a favorite belief, a favorite personal belief. Okay? Close your eyes. And allow that favorite personal belief to create a sensation of support for your person, for your individuality. That's the only path that's ever going to work for you, is a path that you understand as an individual. That's what my belief is. Now, look into your body and try to bring that feeling of that supportive element that you chose and put it right into where you're stuck. Where you're afraid about your children, where you're afraid about your parents, where you're worried about finances. Bring whatever you connect with, be it nature or a quote or a song, and bring the feeling into your body. Now pause your breath. No breath. Now breathe deeply. And you can come back to here and open the eyes. Now you see if we can actualize just one moment like that. One moment changes people's lives for the better or for the worse. What the flow is all about is trying to actualize those moments in our daily lives through a little training and through doing things that relate to just our ordinary activities. So I'd like everyone to stand now. You know, in Kung Fu land, they'll make you stand for years before they teach you one movement, the super masters. Can you imagine? I mean, why would that be? That's because each one of your toes is doing something different. Because the hips are doing something different. It doesn't matter if we're 1 year old. It starts probably at 6 months, the shoulders. So look into your bodies and find out where there's stuck stuff in your standing. And start to adjust things. When you're waiting in line in a store, what a wonderful opportunity to practice standing practice. You know, they talk about Qigong. Bert and I were talking about Qigong today. Qigong is the training of Qi, or the training of biomagnetism. You know what one of the #1 exercises is? Standing practice. I studied everything forever. And now, 20 years later, I'm staying there as one of the best practices because it's that powerful. How about the knees and the hips? Look at your knees with your mind. If you stand with locked knees like this, ladies and gentlemen, the chances of you having a problem when you're much older are pretty darn good. Any doctor will tell you that if you create a stiff limb, that you squish your cartilage. So try to have a little bend there. Okay, now, however you want to do it, a little walk, maybe you can just walk around a little circle. We're going to practice walking 3 ways. This is another way to check in without adding any extra time to your daily routine, to your daily life. So you're waiting in line at the store, you practice standing practice. Use your mind not to be distracted, but to actually pay attention. Over the years, I'm doing this for years, and there's so many differences, it's silly, between my right hip and left hip, between my right foot and left foot. So even though it's so simple, it's tremendously profound. Okay, so just walk in a circle and walk from heel to toe. I'm going to go in a circle. I don't know what we're going to do with the cameras here. They're going to hate us for this. But I want you to walk in 3 ways. First, heel to toe. Dun, da, 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 da. Bagua man there. You know these 3 ways of walking in Bagua, Jeff? You got heel to toe, and now you got toe to heel. This is what you want to do if it's slippery. And you want to be very careful. Toe to heel, toe to heel. So when you're walking in your house, when you're cleaning, if you practice these 3 ways of walking, you're going to attract your mind into your body. And just like I said at the beginning of the program, if I focus on either hand, magnetism builds in my hand. Well, you now are focusing on your body and your stepping. Your mind is not objectified in space, you follow? Your mind is not objectified in thought. Your mind is paying attention to your body. So you're going to build cellular magnetism. You're going to help your health. Now I want you to walk flat foot. That's when you really want to be very strong. This also is something that you should do if there's too much ice around or you want to be very careful. Actually, this is the most careful. Okay, now I'm going to just look a little bit and see what's going on. All right, and you see how a lot of people are doing this? See if you can keep the head straight. There's another quote in Kung Fu Land says, if you want to have the wind of heaven in your body, how about lifting your head? How about light and sensitive energy at your head top? Now, in every religious tradition, something happens above the head, right? And when we're lit up, our heads are just present. So keep your eyes. It's harder because you've got to face reality more. But let there be a sense of spaciousness balancing the forms. A sense of silence balancing the sounds. Okay, now we're going to do turning on a dime. So just stop where you're at. Let's see how well you can just turn around in a circle. And I'm going to look around. Just turn around in a circle. Is this fun? Good. Now notice your balance. Don't get yourself dizzy, but notice your balance. Turn in a circle in a balanced way. Jeff, this is a big deal for Bagua land. Right. Okay, now let's open a cabinet. Okay? How do you open a cabinet? Do you open a cabinet like this? Does the head lead? Or does the feet and the hips lead? Like a dancer maybe. Open a cabinet. Hips. Feet are rooted and stable. Please don't move in such a way that you're going to hurt yourself. Where you open cabinets like this or the phone rings and you go like that. Let's do it with the other hand now. Open a cabinet. See that? Everything is integrated. The potential for you to integrate your shoulder with your hips, your head with your hips and torso, everything. The potential you can see is endless. You have an opportunity to bring health to your body with every movement. I just wanted to mention one more thing before we go into a little more centering. Something I call the Zen of driving. Can you see all the mirrors? Can you use your sense of feeling to keep a cushion in this chaotic world around yourself when you're driving, when you're walking, when you're with friends? You know, or does the eyes and the ears cause so much confusion that it's near impossible for you to see spatially? The Zen of driving is a wonderful opportunity. So this omni-awareness idea, it's something we can practice in our body. All right, let's go on to the next flow. We have one little experience of take 5. So you're seated at your seat at your desk. You can do a little thing like this, and you could do some body pumping like this. Let's try that a minute. Let's go like this. You can use open hands if you want. Okay, hands on the belly again. Let me see if you can get that breathing going. Exhale, push in. Inhale, push out. That was great. Could you come up here, please? Please? Can everybody hear me in the back? Oh, there is no back. Okay. Now, I promise you, if you actually learn this one thing, your health in a week's time is going to change. If you practice in the next week these movement things, it's going to change everything. This is the ultimate wellness program, is what I call it, and I believe that 100%. It's not a pill. It's not exercise without any mental anything. It's not just an adjustment without any sense of presence for your body. Let me see you do that. Exhale, push in. Inhale, push out. No. See how difficult it is? We're trained the other way. Okay. So inhale real deep. Now exhale and push in. Inhale, push out. Exhale, push in. Inhale, push out. Now put your hands on your lower back. Everybody put your hands on your lower back. See if you can feel it in your lower back. Inhale. Your organs get touch because the diaphragm is this big from the front to the back of the body. If you learn to push the diaphragm down, it touches the liver, it touches the stomach. Inhale. Exhale, push in. Inhale, push out. Exhale, push in. Inhale, push out. Thank you very much. That's great. Okay, now we're going to go into another little centering experience. I'd like you to close your eyes. I'm going to get a chair. I had exactly the right number of flowers for the ladies in the room. That's got to be a synchronicity. If I hold this flower next to your nose and it has a lot of fragrance in it, do you get some nourishment? Yes or no? In the same way, the sky is offering you nourishment. The earth, which is right there and everywhere, is offering nourishment. But our fear causes us to have a self-obsession that has a singular agenda of ourself. So it doesn't include the environment. It doesn't include a spatial perception that's wide and open, only when we're alone. As soon as we see each other, people don't have that perception. So therefore, no more flowers, no more trees, no more mountains, no more water. Can you slow your mind down long enough to return back to that sense of childlike openness, childlike spaciousness? Because if this flower gives some kind of nourishment, then I'll bet you there's a lot of nourishments that we're not aware of. How about the stars? You know, this isn't just fun talk for me. I'm fascinated with these ideas. Can you imagine these stars are right here? Is your mind moving so quick? Is your attraction and repulsion so intense that you forgot that the stars and the trees and it's all here? Has humanity forgotten that? With intimacy, as I said in the beginning, with true friendship, there's this sense of, I accept you in here. Okay, maybe I don't like some things about you because I'm not so saintly, but I accept you in here. I'm committed to accepting you in here, whatever I got to go through. I don't want to define you and dice you and keep you out there and sell you and this and that. I had enough of this world that way. It doesn't work. So to slow down long enough to have that intimacy, it's kind of like a first love affair. You know, all of a sudden, two people are right there, and everything is wonderful. And, you know, there's an exposure that happens as soon as we let down our defense mechanisms. There's a tremendous exposure of stuff that isn't right inside of each of us. So we learn not to let people in, right? We learn to objectify. And I think one of the greatest struggles in life that we can do is to have the courage to reverse the search again and again and again. Reverse the search. Prefrontal cerebral cortex, right here, this part of the brain. Isn't that funny that that's where all the religions touch? And if you're really upset, that's where a love person that loves you will kiss you on the forehead. All the traditions are always touching here. Why? Because this is where active memory is. This is what objectifies reality. When this calms down, then reality is felt on the inside, and that's a different story. The breath changes 3 ways when we go into centering. The first way is it becomes deep. So let's just take a couple of deep breaths. Real deep. The more support that there is, the more that kind of breath's going to happen. And you start to feel into these places that are locked up like stuffy rooms inside. The journey to super health and the journey of enlightenment is nothing other than continuing to experience some kind of support. Nature song, you're my favorites list, people, new class, whatever it is. You feel that support, and then you open up that stuck shoulder and you breathe into it. If you have enough support, you'll experience what I call naturally sustained processing breathing, which means you know, it's like crying, the crying breath. Crying is an advanced spiritual practice. So, the next kind of breath that happens is it becomes very long. Now, this is the most difficult one. Long, calm, fine, slow, and even. This is the challenge. This is a big challenge to be able to accomplish in a group, and it's a big challenge to accomplish by yourself. We all pretend like we do it so well. I don't think any of us do it so well. How long can you make your breath now? I'm going to close my eyes. Gaffer, would you come up? Please challenge yourself. How long can I make my breath? That's all. Simple as that. So we're going to journey like 1,000 or so years in about 5 minutes, if you're all game. But I have you all trapped here, so you got to do it. This is Father Muniz. I got it right. Father Muniz has had an outreach in Ecuador for 20 years or something like that. These are the people that do the work. And come on up. And we're going to practice this little ditty. I don't go with your song still inside you. Let it guide you every day. We all know that it's good to be humble, but don't mumble your life away. Again. I don't go with your song still inside you. Let it guide you every day. We all know that it's good to be humble, so don't mumble your life away. Okay, now we'll start the song, and then you remember the chorus. This is not a race. You don't have to run. You might even slow it down. Take a look around instead of chasing everyone. Nothing to prove, no point to make. 'Cause when it's said and done, you know in your heart your song is sung. Chorus. Don't go. I'm not saying a word, come on. We all know that it's good to be humble, so don't mumble your life away. You could lose it all. You'd still feel like you won. You might fall out of the sky and learn to fly just by reaching for the sun. No need to fret about regret, 'cause when it's said and done, you know that your song is sung. Don't go inside you. Let it guide you every day. We all know that it's good to be humble, so don't mumble your life away. Okay, a little teamwork, please. La 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 la, la 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 la, lowly lowly low, la 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 la, low 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 low, rubbity 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 scrub. Hoppity hop bop ba da, hoppity ho bo ba ha, hoppity ho bo bo ho. But don't go till your song is inside you. Let it guide you every day. We all know that it's good to be humble, so don't grumble. Well, don't mumble, just don't fumble your life away. That's it, folks. Thank you. It's inside you. Let it guide you every day. We all know that it's good to be humble, so don't grumble. Well, don't mumble, just don't fumble your life away. That's it, folks. Thank you.